Hey everybody, it's Dennis again. So, continuing on my little series here of my practices that help me get through life. These things have been very useful in sobriety. A lot of these things have come from recovery, from meetings that I've attended, but they've also just come from my life and things that I've studied, and a lot of it's very stoic. But I'm going to do three more. So I did the first six. I'm not going to do a recap of them all because it just takes too much time. The next three, so we're doing number 7. Now this is a good one. Okay, so here are 3 things you should be able to say easily and with real meaning. I'm not saying you just throw them out there just to make somebody happy or to try to get away with some whatever. I'm saying these things you need to be able to say easily and with meaning. Number 1 is, I was wrong. Okay? You need to be able to say I was wrong. And I mean, really, when you were wrong, you have to be able to say that. I recently had an issue with my tax guy, and he screwed up big time on my taxes. And I caught him. He didn't even catch it, but I caught him, and essentially the IRS would be catching me. But anyway, I caught him, and I was really angry, and I contacted him, and I was all set to hear him start with excuses, right? Oh, this is happening. I was all set for the excuses to come, and I was just all set to really. I was angry, and he didn't. He came right out and he said, "I screwed up." And that was the best thing he could have said. I mean, it kind of disarmed me, because in my last thing I told you, we all make errors. Now, he's made several errors, and it's going to be the last time I use him. But anyway, that's another story. That's a different thing. But he totally diffused the whole situation by coming right out and saying, "I screwed up," and that's the way it should be. Excuses, nobody wants to hear excuses, especially when you know they're just excuses. If you screw up, say, I was wrong. I made a mistake. I did wrong, okay? So be able to say that easily. The second thing, and this is also, you need to be able to say sincerely and easily. And this is sincerely. You need to be able to say, I am sorry. And not just, I'm sorry, like you're trying to get out of something. I mean, you're sorry, you regret what you did or said. Regret. That's the part of the sorry you need to be able to say. And honestly, there's a lot we can say we're sorry about to people that we've offended. And again, we're not perfect. And when we screw up, there's a way to deal with that. And that's by saying, you know what, if I could have done it differently, I would. It's an important thing to be able to say easily. You don't want to go to the end without having actually admitted you were wrong and said you were sorry, because it's just a crappy way to be. So be able to say it sincerely and honestly. And then the last one, and this is especially for guys out there because we're really terrible at this. The last one you need to be able to say is, I need help. And to say I need help is, if you're an addict and alcoholic, you understand how incredibly important that is. But to be able to say I need help is super important. In some of the really big things in life, you need to be able to say I need help. In some of the things that are not so big, you still need to say I need help. It is not. You aren't losing any of you by doing that. It is a pride thing often by saying, I need help, that I am not self-reliant, that I can't do this all by myself. That's just silly. More often I would have just said, I wouldn't say I need help because I don't want to bother somebody. People just bother people. It's okay, especially in the big things in life. Just say I need help. Okay, so that's all one. Those 3 things you need to be able to say easily. Number 8 on the list is avoid gossip. Gossip is very bad. And I'll tell you, it's not just bad because it's, the character assassination, as we say. It's bad because it's seductive and you can fall into it very easily. You don't even know. You start saying something little about somebody, and then you start talking about that somebody, and then it starts getting a little malicious, and you don't even realize it's happening, and you're in the middle of gossip. You need to be way up in front of that. Gossip's bad. Character assassination is bad. And if you're, again, in recovery, you were probably the subject of gossip, and it wasn't fun. And you'd rather that not happen. So don't be, kind of hypocritical and start gossiping about people when, you were already big time gossiped about. Stay away from it. Identify people who do it a lot. I know of somebody in my work. She's a wonderful person, but she just loves to talk about people. And I identified that early on, and I stop her dead in her tracks, and I say, you know what, stop. I don't want to talk about people. And she just gets disappointed. I don't want to participate, but I don't want to do it. I don't need it, and it's not something I need to be part of. And then last on this video is I write it down KYMS. That's what I write in margins sometimes. Keep your mouth shut. I don't need to always be talking. I can go to a meeting and not say a word and just absorb. And it's better sometimes that way. You don't need to feel compelled to speak every time there's something that you think you need to say. And I'll tell you something, I'm a salesperson, and one of the things I've learned a long time ago, was mastering silence means you master the conversation. If you're very good at quiet pauses, listening, you will then control the conversation, because people are going to be trying to listen to what you're saying, and they'll be saying, there's a pause there, what's going on? So you need to be able to learn how to deal with silence. You need to not talk all the time. There are people who feel compelled to speak every single time that something comes into their head. There was a study done that people who feel compelled to talk, their blood pressure goes down when they're talking, because they think they're in control. They're in control of things. As long as they're talking, I'm in control. You're not. It's an illusion. You're actually probably losing control, because people are going to be, losing focus on what you're saying. But anyway, just like now, I need to stop talking. So keep your mouth shut. You don't need to speak every single time a thought comes into your head. You don't need to speak at every single AA meeting. You can just listen to an AA meeting. You don't have to speak at every single business meeting. In fact, you're probably better off speaking only when you need to at a business meeting. That's where the KMS came from. I wrote that in margins of my notebook when I'd be in a meeting, just to say, shut up and listen. So silence is your friend. Pauses are your friend. And with that, I will end.